Teresa, would you like to start our meeting with a prayer? Nice to see Sheila back. All right, the first item is approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Hope everybody's had a chance to look them over. If you haven't, do so now if you would.
I move they be approved.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve the minutes and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes have been approved. Public comment, do we have any?
We have two people. I do want to remind everyone that we're trying live mics tonight. So that's why there was that little bit of noise, because everybody voted at the same time. So just be aware that your mic will pop on if you start talking or moving papers too much. So just kind of pay attention to that. And same thing for the two people that are going to speak. The mic should pop on when you start speaking. You shouldn't have to worry about touching any of the buttons or anything. So we will start with Mr. Don Hamilton.
I'm Don Hamilton. I'm the president of Pirates Cove Owners Association. I wanted to talk to you about the preservation at Pirates Cove. First of all, I want to thank Brian Hamby for reaching out. He's the developer of that property, and talking to us and trying to get our input on and our thoughts on them tying in basically to Pirates Cove. In looking at the plans, the first concern that we had is that we were told that the egress ingress that goes on to Cutlass Drive, and you can see it in the drawing there, that was to be an emergency exit only. I don't see anywhere on the plans where it indicates that. So that's our first concern. The other concern is there's a triangle that states that it's an 80-foot site, and that's going to take out some trees that are basically 50, 60, 100 years old. So I have a concern about that. We have a concern about that. That's the main point that I wanted to make. I did also want to point out David Michaels is on our group, and he made a comment here, and I didn't know. I want to go ahead and just read it to you. But if you assume that each house has 2 cars in the development and they enter and exit twice a day, he does the math. There's 43 lots times 2 cars times 2 entrances times 2 exits. That's 344 cars a day. And if you assume half of them will use this egress, whatever you want to call it, that's 172 cars that will come through there. Plus, that's a public beach access that's right there. So the concern is that's going to be a potential mess. Don't know if there's been a traffic study done to address that, but I wanted to make that point clear. So again, our main concern is, what is that? Is it a, quote, emergency exit? And if it is, what is that definition of exit? Yes, sir?
Is this a DOT issue? No? Okay.
They're both private roads, so I would see that as a Surf City issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for your comments.
Our next speaker is Margaret Byram.
Hello, my name is Margaret Byram. I'm also a member of the board of Pirates Cove HOA. And I wanted to continue on with what Don was talking about with emergency exits, or what is considered an emergency exit, and what you can do to block that exit when it's not being used as an emergency exit. There are others that are in the city Pleasant Cove and Island Oaks that have an emergency-only exit, and that has planters. So we'd like to know what we could do to protect that. Thank you.
That is all of our speakers for tonight.
All right, our site plan review for the Dr. Parr expansion.
So in your packet tonight is a site plan review of the Surf City Dental expansion. Matt Parr is the owner. W.K. Dixon and Company is the engineer. The overall acreage is 2.65 acres, which is that entire parcel out front. It's Zone C3 commercial use and is located at 301 Aloha Way. The proposed project expands the existing Surf City Dental office at 301 Aloha Way. The original project consisted of approximately 5,000 square feet of dental office with associated parking. The site provided accesses via a right-in, right-out only from NC210 and a full access intersection on Wilkes Lane. Permitting for the existing office was completed in 2015. The proposed project will increase the existing dental office to 9,290 square feet. That is why it's before you tonight, is because it's going above that 5,000 square feet threshold, which takes it from being an AMI approval to being a planning board and town council approval. The proposal will remove existing parking but create additional parking on site. The parking requirement ranges from a minimum of 23 spaces to a maximum of 46 spaces, with the site providing 40 parking spaces. As noted above, this expansion will remove the direct access to NC210 and will add an access point on the Lowe's entrance road. The Department of Transportation has reviewed the project's access change and agreed to the requested changes. Based on future phases of the development, a TIA may be required by the Department of Transportation. There is already an existing sidewalk along NC210 and Aloha Way. The office is currently utilizing Surf City Sewer and Water and will continue to utilize these services. The site will continue to utilize the infiltration basin owned by Lowe's Home Improvement. Permeable pavers will also be used in a portion of the parking to allow for infiltration from a small portion of the sidewalk and parking, and all of that is being done under state stormwater permits. As noted, the site will provide 40 parking spaces, which meets the town ordinances. The landscaping of the perimeter occurred during the original project. The proposed project will replace any existing vegetation that has been damaged or died, so it'll freshen up that. The site expands an existing allowable use within the C3 zoning. Staff recommends approval of the site plan as submitted.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Who owns and maintains the access road as it's labeled? Is that the shopping center or?
So the
Aloha Way.
Aloha Way is his, and is on his site, and then Lowe's owns the one that comes out between the C-store and his property, and Wilkes, it's not maintained by us, so it's Lowe's or Harris Teeter? It's Lowe's.
They own and operate the one that's labeled access road.
Well, which, hold on, let me get to the right site so I can make sure. Yes, yes, sir. The one labeled access road is the one that I was referring to as the Lowe's access road.
Okay.
I'm confused. I see Wilkes Road and I see Aloha Road.
Can you see the screen back there? Maybe
Not
kind of.
really.
The big TV had a little hiccup this week.
Yeah.
On the right, you have Wilkes Lane. If you're looking at the screen back there, on the right where the dark is coming out, that's coming out on Wilkes Lane. And then where the dark is coming out on the left is the access road. And then Aloha is actually the part that's in Dr. Parr's parking lot.
Goes away.
Do what?
Aloha goes away.
The connection to NC210 goes away and is replaced by the connection by the connection to the access road. So Aloha Way will now go across the property instead of making that movement. Does that make sense? I mean, I can go back there and point if that would help. And at this time, Dr. Parr does not have concrete plans for the remainder of the parcel. When he's ready to move forward with something else, he will come back with that.
Being as there's no architectural plans here, is
It's going to match the existing building.
it going up or out?
It's going, if it's facing, is this way, it's going this way.
So plenty of room for fire truck to
Has
get
been
in?
reviewed by fire.
So they already had enough water and sewer capacity on the original to sustain this now.
Yes.
I moved that it be approved.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Any further comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The approval stands. All right, the subdivision preserve at Pirates Cove.
So in your packet this evening is a request for the review of a proposed subdivision. As required by our ordinance, subdivisions larger than 2 acres require a sketch plan review by the Technical Review Committee and the Planning Board. So this is just a high-level review without complete engineered plans. The applicant is American Land Holdings, LLC. The engineer is CLD Engineering, both of which are here tonight. The total acreage is 15.39 acres. Of those acres, based on wetland surveys, 3.33 acres approximately are wetlands. The proposed name is the preserve at Pirate Cove. It is a proposed single-family project. The current zoning is R5, which does allow for single-family. It's located in the 2300 block of South Shore Drive. On behalf of American Land Holdings, LLC, CLD Engineering is requesting a sketch plan review of the attached site plan. This review shall in no way be construed as consulting an official action of approval for recording the subdivision by the planning board as required by the ordinance. So basically, after tonight, they still have to do all their engineered stuff, come back through TRC, come back through planning board, and come back through council. The below map provides the zoning of the parcel as well as the adjacent properties. The attached site plan proposes the development of a 43-lot single-family subdivision. The subdivision would access both South Shore Drive and Cutlass Drive. The property can connect up to 10 single-family homes to the existing Town of Surf City sewer system. All other homes will be serviced by private septic systems. After review by planning board and staff, the applicant will submit the fully engineered set of plans to the town for review. This process will include TRC, planning board, and council review and approval. Staff requests that planning board provide comments regarding the attached site plans. And if you have any specific questions, the applicant and his engineer are here to answer them. And I'm going to go ahead and put the site plan up on the TV screen that you can kind of see. I do want to mention, it shows landscape islands in the center of the two cul-de-sacs. That's something that we have discussed with fire. That is not necessarily a done deal. We have to make sure that our fire trucks can fit through there, so we'll use auto turns or something, a similar software, to make sure that they can fit before we sign off on those. But that was a thought in an effort to try to potentially save a tree or be able to maybe move a larger tree there that we needed to take down.
I do have a question for you, Amy. I know that some of the concerns brought by Pirates Cove were that emergency or that exit onto Cutlass. Where's the town ordinance that say on making it just an emergency? Is that something that, since they're private roads maintained by Surf City, or not maintained by Surf City, but is that, because I know we've had that before, like in Mandalay Bay.
Well, we had that conversation with Dogwood Lakes and the terraces. The terraces is private roads and it is connected. We do not allow by ordinance gates or anything on roads within the town of Surf City. We did look at an ordinance that would allow that. When I first started with the town, it was declined. So that would be in Chapter 16 of the ordinances, so it went to council and did not come through planning board.
So would they be able to just make that an emergency exit there, or would that have?
I don't think the ordinance supports that just being an emergency. The ordinance supports interconnectivity between neighborhoods.
Was there any recourse for them or for Pirates Cove if they, for their concern on that?
I believe there may be deeded access to that road that went with that property. So that property has always had access to Cutlass Road as part of, I don't know if you remember, but in 1980 something, there was an original phase 2 of Pirates Cove. So this is there was an original phase 3 of Pirates Cove. This has always been planned as an additional phase since the 80s. And if I remember correctly, there were some duplexes. Nope, there were duplexes in that original plan, and this plan is for single family only.
Multifamily in there.
Amy, do you know what kind of price range is going to be on the houses?
No, sir. I think that's a daily changing number.
American Land Holdings is a land developer. They're not a home builder, so they will basically just be putting in the infrastructure and selling the lots. They will not actually be building the houses, so don't really have house prices.
You have any idea on your pricing on your lots?
Real estate market's changing all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. We will have, interior lots. We will have a couple of second row ocean view lots, and there will be some dockable waterfronts. So, there will be some high dollar lots with the dockable waterfronts.
The reason for my question, I live right at the entrance. I'm the duplex right at your entrance on 210, on South Shore. So I have an interest in what goes in there. And so once we find something out, I'd like to know, because I don't want $200,000 homes going in there.
No.
So they're also providing an amenity center with pool in there.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Would that go in before, would the amenity, would the center go in after the houses were built or before?
It would be going in with conjunction of the roads. As we're putting in the infrastructure, we want to be putting in the amenities.
Okay, so you're doing like a turnkey lot for a builder to come in.
Absolutely. Before we can get a final plat, that we're going to have everything in place, or I believe either bonded or everything installed.
If I may, I'd like to go into the amenity center, and that might answer Mr. Cox's question. My name is Frank Braxton. I'm with CLD Engineering, and I've got an illustration of the amenity center that we have designed, and this is what we're doing. Given this style and quality that they're doing this level, I think it will.
Thank you. I hope. Maybe I ought to make a contention on me getting a free pass.
That you might be able to work a deal with.
Okay.
But no, it's,
See how much you want my vote.
that's a good point. But really, it's, given the cost of the land and the cost of development now, you're not going to have inexpensive lots. So that's going to drive the price
I
of
know
the
if
house.
David Ward was the seller, you paid.
Amen.
I've only got one concern about this site plan, and that is having the entrance road backing up to the lots in Pleasant Cove, making them in effect a one-way, a lot that's got streets on two sides, even though one street's not accessible. And I know that's against the zone and subdivision ordinance. Or I think it is.
You mean on Cutlass Drive and our,
No, not Cutlass, your new entrance road off of South Shore butts up to the lots that are existing in Pirates Cove, Pleasant Cove.
Yeah,
And that,
that's our only entrance in that area.
I know it was moved over and had a set of lots running back to back with Pleasant Cove. Yeah, it seems like to me it would prevent a conflict with our subdivision ordinance. Am I right, Amy, or am I wrong?
There is some verbiage in there about not making lots that front two roads.
Running on two roads.
But I'm not going to say that hasn't happened.
Oh, I know it's happened, but
Magnolia
what's
Reserve.
happened in the past don't make it right for the future.
Correct.
We got lots that have been passed that are not even qualified as lots.
None of the existing lots on either side would have access to our roads. So I don't know if that,
Well, unless you put a fence up there, they gonna wind up using it somehow, even if it's just to get the lawnmower in the backyard.
we may be able to move it over so there's a common space going through that can't be crossed.
Yeah, something, it's just a concern I had.
It's good. We need to know those. And in terms of the entrance on Cutlass, we moved it as far toward Highway 50 as we could, and that would prevent any really undue traffic going into their neighborhood. That's as close as we could get to that entrance and still make it work. And we did present a emergency knockdown siren activated gate, but the time doesn't allow it. And it's really a call on the fire department, emergency. They won't access in 2 points to be able to avoid anyone getting trapped. One thing we can do that's really not a gate, and they're called flex cones. And that might deter people going out.
Our fire department is not fans of flex cones.
They could drive right over them.
Just telling you. And with the siren activated gates, apparently our sirens don't open all the gates, and Pender County's sirens don't open. They're different. They're different frequencies, and there have been some issues where some of the when you have to call in for backup. So like if Topsail Beach had to come, which is who would come if there was a fire in this area, their sirens may not work with our sirens, and that has been an issue with some of the siren activated gates, is my understanding from the fire department.
Other than having to replace those flop over pylons or whatever you call them, what's the problem that the fire department has with that?
I'm not 100% sure, but Mr. Alan Wilson would be happy to discuss that with you at another time.
Discuss it with them, not me.
Yes. But when we move into the full TRC review, John Burton, our fire marshal, is a part of that review. So the conversations will be had at that time.
For a solution.
We're open for any solution and try to make it work. Also, in the terms of tree protection, in our due diligence on this property, not only did we look at the soils, we took a full tree survey, and our surveyors are no longer talking to us.
I believe you.
Yeah, just about. But it's thick, and we did identify some of the larger specimens, and we've talked with Amy about, can we bifurcate some of the roads to save the trees? Can we use these cul-de-sacs, because they've gotten so large now for fire movement, that if we can cut the circle out and they can still get around, we can position the trees or back, relocate a tree into those islands. But we are, in all of our site plan work, we're very attentive to the trees that we're going to save. And we're going to do the best, very much the best we can.
Comment on that, we had live oaks of topsoil, transplant a bunch of trees down at the S-curve on some property I had, not a one of them lived.
I remember.
Yeah, they were so small. Good luck on transplanting a specimen tree.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
If we,
Sand is what it is, it just won't
Sand.
hold up, just lose the roots.
if it moves around, it can't hold, so you're right. So we'll try to keep them in place, as many as we can. And if it's okay, I guess we're back to the fire department, if they'll let us go around trees and they feel there's enough room, so the clearance is there and the width is there, then we'll surely do it.
On the tree thing, I'd tell you to go down to Channel Bend, we just did that development ourselves, and we built each house to leave as many trees. We even had the trees coming up through decks and all kinds of silly stuff.
That's similar to Ballhead's done some of that same stuff, so that's
Maybe.
good.
I've been to Ballhead a couple of times, but I'm not familiar with it that much.
But we're not going out mass clearing the whole site, so it's a retail lot subdivision.
Can you get a house, a tree, and the septic tank replacement field all on the same lot?
We should. That's why we got the soil scientists working out of, was land management, they're Davy now. And so they've been on the site and identified what we can do, and of course, we're gonna be working hand in hand with grading plans and tree saving and make sure we can do what we wanna do.
Real shame the town can't provide you with sewer.
I agree. I wish it was ready to go, but
There'd be a lot more houses, I'm sure.
I don't know. We're pretty much
For the
in a good
environment all
spot.
the way around.
Yeah, but we are looking at a stormwater pond, and I think I don't think the infiltration would work, not for this density. And the stormwater pond becomes an amenity, especially if our pool is associated with it, and we keep watering it all year.
Just to that septic end, does the town, because I know we have the problem, does the town give water and then allow septic, or does it have to be both sewer and septic to?
We allow water without septic. Our subdivision ordinance says if you hook to us, you have to meet all of our stuff. If you don't hook to us, then you have to meet whatever entity is the governing entity over it. So whether it's Department of Health and Human Services or whoever, basically you have to be correctly permitted. And then Price's ordinance allows him to allow septic when we cannot provide service.
Yeah, he indicated that he would write a letter saying that he would allow it. But we will be tying into the Surf City water system and bringing in full lines and hydrants and everything that's needed.
Your information, if it was no water and no sewer, it'd be 20,000 square foot lots, I believe is what the county health department requires. And that's 1/4 of, or you get 1/4 as many lots on here that way.
Yep. That'd be hard to match the land cost. So and taken from our this summary that the entrance, how do you want us to deal with that? I think we're dictated by the fire department to have 2 entrances. And if they'll let us do something to keep it from full flow, we're happy to do it. But I don't know what else we can do.
Only
Seems
way I
like-
can tell you is negotiate with the homeowners association.
And it also seems like it'd come up in review in TRC.
Yeah.
Any other items or things we need to address more attended?
If the new exit to South Shore Drive remains where it is, I think we need heavy landscaping or fencing or combination of both to ensure the privacy of these other lots that are existing here now.
That's the question. Is the DOT going to require a decel lane there?
We haven't taken that step yet, and it's such a narrow area. But if it's allowed within the right-of-way and it doesn't block a driveway,
Decel lane right in front of his house.
Absolutely.
good point. Of course, DOT calls the shots, and they have all the cards. We don't have any.
Another reason for moving that road over. If they require it.
Yep.
I don't know what their requirements are.
Amy, if DOT does get involved in this thing,
When DOT gets involved in this
when
thing.
DOT gets involved,
Yes, sir.
could you let me know? Because, I mean, it could directly affect my house.
Just don't be biased here.
Yeah.
They will be, so when we do the TRC package will go to them, as well as, once we move forward, they'll have to go through the driveway permit process. So my assumption would be that if things are favorable tonight and they feel that they're going to move forward with this property, that the DOT will be involved within the next 60 days or less. Now, when their response will come back, I am not sure.
They have a backlog right now.
They're
Must
pretty
need to
busy
talk
right
to the
now.
regional guy.
She can't pull strings. So.
Yeah, no. I don't think we're
Your
voting.
remote septic fields,
Yes.
are they to remain open or fenced in, or
It,
is it common area to be used?
It's part of a common area, but it really depends on what Pender County Health is going to require. Each of those individual pods are be owned by the lot that's being served by it. So if they need to be fenced, that would be a call by Pender County.
And they are a pod system, or you don't know yet?
I'm sorry?
What kind of septic system is it? Do you know yet?
They're going to be just regular gravity.
Oh,
The soil is good in that point, and the lots being served, we just have to pump up, and it just goes into a distribution box and goes on its way, hopefully, through the ground.
Shouldn't be an engineered system.
Be no different than one in your yard.
That area's pretty high.
On the front, so it's-
It is. I was surprised at the relief of this property. I'm kind of used to everything's flat and you can barely get it to drain.
This is just a review.
I'd like to make a motion that we get bigger maps next meeting.
Well, the TV died on me unexpectedly. Normally, you can see the TV.
That's all right, we got all those diagrams and everything from the engineer on the other project about curb cuts and stuff we don't need.
You got a big one. If you,
I got a phone and Zoom, I'm okay.
and we're not impacting any of the wetlands. I forgot about that. We did shift the roads as we could to miss any of the on-site wetlands. It helps us on terms of CAMA permitting. There's not one required.
Little diagram here, where is that? It's the road intersection. Down in the, yeah, right there in the corner of the, there you go.
Yeah, it's just a typical of the lots.
What,
Just a typical of the lot showing that the building
okay.
envelope with the
that
setbacks.
was Cutlass or
No,
Shore
it's-
Drive or what?
no, just a
Okay.
real example.
What are the lot widths going to be? Or,
I think they were 50 feet.
okay.
You are not currently working with a builder?
It's gonna be open game.
We'll have protective covenants and design guidelines, when we sell the lots. And, they don't have to be a licensed North Carolina builder. They'll have to go through an approval process. But we do not actually build houses.
Yeah, most of the retail sales right now, you don't have a track builder going in. You can't
That was my
compete.
question. That was really what I wanted to know.
Yeah, it's gonna be custom.
Is there any plans, is there, that canal on the back end, is there any plans to dredge that, or is that deep water?
It's deep water.
It's water.
It's already deep water,
Actually, it's navigable.
navigable.
It's not real wide, but it's navigable. But you can get a, 23-foot boat in?
I've been up in there on a 24-foot center console.
Just for information's sake, how is the town coming with increasing sewer capacity?
David Price works on that daily.
What you got for us, David?
Reads about it.
On the spot. A lot of people want to hear this.
We currently have 4 projects underway. 2 are in permitting with the state, but to be honest with you, they've been in permitting with the state since last August of 2021 and October of 2021. They've had it for that long. We got 2 more projects that are under research phase that we are actually going to go through the EOP process with the health department. It's going to take about 90 days and full construction 2 years. We're working on that now. And I'm actually going to speak to the council next week about a 5th project fixed to be launched. But if I had to give you an answer, anywhere, we're going to get a little bit in the next 2 to 3 years, and we're going to get a whole bunch at 10 years. I wish I could give you something more concrete, but that's where we're at.
Can you quantify a little bit?
2 to 3 years would be approximately 300,000 gallons. I'll give you the number of homes if that makes it easier. Give me a second. I put my calculator, I'm sorry. Okay, it's not an exact science because a lot of people like to build duplexes of commercial properties, but if we were talking about single-family homes, that's equivalent to 830 single-family homes.
That's more than a little bit.
It goes really quick, and we got currently 80 people on the wait list, 80 homes on the wait list, and several people working through the process.
How many apartment groups? That's what ate it all up.
These are townhomes that are currently on the wait list, and we got anybody else working through the process right now? Several people are talking to me, but nobody's submitted yet. My fear is once this thing gets close, everybody's going to start getting projects approved, and that capacity is going to be gone. Just to be honest. Anything else?
Thank you, Dave. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Not really.
He's used to it.
Let's just move forward.
All right, any other questions or comments?
No, I agree with David. Look at that road on the backup on there, and then maybe try to work with fire, see if we can make that the emergency. I can see if we can find a way to do that. I think that would probably allay a lot of the concerns for the citizens over Pirates Cove, so definitely pursue that, see if we can make that happen for them.
Overall layout is really good. I like the layout.
We worked around the soil, so we tried to do it right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Amy. You got any updates for us?
The comp plan has been given to council for review, so they are currently reviewing that, and will make comments from their standpoint. It's also been submitted to CAMA, so even if we work through any changes through council planning board, working together on that, it shouldn't affect the CAMA portions. That CAMA is basically just making sure that we've done certain things in there to certify the document, so we were able to go ahead and submit that and start that process, because that process can start up to 6 months. We do need to, as a planning board, talk about whether we want to, in the upcoming rewrite of the ordinances, whether we want to continue with the ordinances as they are and rewrite them, or if we want to look at more of a unified development ordinance. So we're going to need some direction in how we're going to move forward with updating our ordinances and bringing them to a more usable standard. And after that, I would like to start a technical standards. Right, so we actually have a technical standards book. So I have a few big projects hopefully coming up in the next couple of years. As far as development, we have seen a decrease in the number of single-family home permits pulled in the last couple of months, but we do anticipate Magnolia Reserve is finalizing some infrastructure as well as waterside, so we anticipate once that happens, that'll pick back up, but we have definitely seen a decline. As Price mentioned, we continue to get people calling and just kind of filling things out on property or whatnot, but nothing major and nothing has stuck yet. That's about it. And anticipate Applewood Trace has started their resubmittal process, so they will be coming back in the very near future. I've spoken to no one, but I have seen something come through, so.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're ready to adjourn.
Adjourn, yeah.
Make a motion, Randy.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
I don't like Sheila.